All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are watch. My dang microphone's falling apart. We are going to watch. All right, hopefully that fixed it. We're going to watch some videos of Nancy Guthrie case, and we're going to look at some photos. Uh, and we're going to talk. We got some stuff going on around in town here. We're going to talk about. So a lot of stuff going on. Let's take a look at first a photo that I blew up of the front door when he comes walking up and gets real close to the camera. Uh, it's almost like it's a side view, like someone's already standing there. And when I blew up the photo, you can see blood, I believe, in the corner right next to the camera. So something fishy going on. Plus, there's tents up in the front four way or whatever they call it, the entryway. I want to give a shout out to all the ladies and the dudes at LA Express. I stopped in there this morning. The food, they got food, like a buffet. So make sure you stop in there, get your gas. They're always nice, the kids and everything. They're probably not kids, they're probably adults, but great people in there. Whenever I stop in there, they're real kind. You know, but then again, that could be fishy, and if you live in the crime world. All right, let's look at a photo real quick. Let me pull this up real quick in my archives. And then we're going to look at a video that one of my mods sent me. And then we're also going to watch another video. A lot going on. Let me pull up this photo first. All right. Now, something fishy is going on here. All right, let me pull this up. Hold on. All right, now as you can see, I could shrink it out. Now this is right when he comes walking up, right? This is when he comes walking up. Now it looks to be something on the ground here already, like a reflection or something. But if you notice, he's walking right down the center, and it almost appears like the camera is off to the side a little bit, which it was the ringtone, right? But if look at down here, this appears to be blood already. Now, does that make sense? Well, it kind of does. Maybe we are seeing the crime after it's already been committed. And it's possible she's in the four-way there in the corner. That's possible. Maybe, you know, something happened. Now, if you blow this up, people are saying, well, it's pixelated. It's not blood. There's no blood there until after or something. Well, I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's blow it up. Now, can you see that? right next to the floor mat or the welcome mat on this side, it appears to be blood droplets. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, it's fragmented or pixelated and you can't tell, but I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it does appear to be droplets or something. Now, why am I saying this? Or even look over here. It kind of looks like over here, maybe on the other side, maybe some blood footprints or something on this side over here. So, is this blood before the blood down here? Now, a lot of people are saying, well, where's the blood down here? 1, 2 bricks in and over. Where's the blood? There should be blood there because there's she. Well, they might not have moved the body. They might have been walking around to see if it was clear. Maybe they had Mrs. Guthrie over here in the corner, tucked away in this corner where no one could see her. And maybe they were walking. I mean, this appears to be blood droplets here. Now, down here, there also was blood, but I can't tell. I can't really see. It won't let me zoom in anymore. This might be remnants of blood here. This outline, maybe, possibly. I can't say 100%. I can't say 100% here at the end. But this here, hello, Miss Debbie, how are you doing? This here does look like blood splatter or blood droplets. Now, also, if he used a gun, don't you think the cameras in the area would have picked up that gunshot? Unless he did this inside. But still, you have to look at the Idaho 4 case where 50 feet away, 75 feet away, a ringtone camera picked up yelling and screaming. So, would a ringtone camera pick up a gunshot from inside? It's possible. It's possible. Now, they're saying that that's not blood. All right. Well, it does appear to be blood splatter or blood droplets. Whether it is or not, I don't know. And this also, I believe, could be blood footprints or something right over here on the other side. And it does appear possibly a car reflection of a, not back here. Everyone's saying, well, what are these floodlights? Them are houses. That's a house property or something. But this here, this little thing here, this little light here, that possibly could be a tail light or a headlight reflection. That possibly could be. So they have the tent set up over this area. All right, let's watch a video real quick. Here's a video.
News alert. New images show officials searching an area off the side of the road near Nancy Guthrie's home this morning. As sources tell Fox News, investigators are processing a set of gloves that were found in the area. Matt Finn joins us from outside Nancy's home in Tucson with the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Lawrence. That horrifying surveillance video of the masked figure on Nancy Guthrie's doorstep right behind me was released on Tuesday. And so far, the FBI has not officially given us an estimated height or weight of this suspect. And you think that would really help the public narrow down who they are looking for. Law enforcement tells Fox that it is working on giving us that profile, but there's no guarantee or Yesterday, investigators found a black glove about a mile away from Nancy Guthrie's home on Campbell Avenue, which is a busy street that connects to Nancy's DNA evidence. And if you look at the Nest Cam video from Nancy's front door, see the masked figure wearing dark gloves. This morning, Fox News saw a Pima County forensic team searching brush on the side of Campbell Avenue, which is where the glove was found. Some of the agents were taking pictures, and over the past few days, I've repeatedly seen local and federal agents scouring the area around Nancy and daughter Annie Guthrie's homes. It's clear to us agents are focusing on finding clues and talking to neighbors around Nancy's house and her daughter Annie's house. Video. Now, as of this morning, there are no known suspects. Law enforcement is not asking the public to be on the lookout for anyone in particular, and that includes a vehicle. Lawrence.
Wow, something very fishy going on. Very, very fishy. Now, folks, we want to go ahead and we want you to keep in mind, a lot of people are looking at Dominic Evans and they're saying, well, he's right height and everything. But, well, he's skinny. Well, that was when was that photo taken of him with Tomas? That might have been taken in 2007, 2026. He might have put on weight. He might have grew a mustache. Now we have no idea if that's really him. A lot of people are saying I looked over the photos myself. There are similarities with the scar on his lip, at the eyes. But we can't say they're all innocent until proven guilty. But my question is why now are they putting a cover over the foyer? I mean, it just are they removing something they don't want us to see, like a body from the house? I'm not sure. You think that they would have did that like the first couple days, had a forensic team out there and quarantined the whole area off. It's very fishy. All right. Also, one of my mods sent me a video. And let's check this one out. All right, hold on a minute. Commercials.
Point in time that investigators were on the roof, it would appear that the exit location was the front door because that's where you see the blood splatter. But where else could the suspect had entered into the home?
So, Lawrence, I'm going to take a look at this as a former FBI SWAT team leader. And so when we do a site survey on a potential location where we're trying to make entry into, and what are the things that I would see that would be difficult to make entry? Because remember, if you're a bad guy trying to get inside, or if you're the good guys going to make a rescue, you want to find the path of least resistance. And look, much of the architecture out here, obviously with the ties to Mexico, much of the architecture is Spanish or Latin American type. And on the front door, and I've looked at that front door, you can see it, over my shoulder here. It's right behind me. It is a thick wood, hickory, oak type door. It's very, simple and synergist with the locality here. And in front of it, there's something that we call a rejas. And what is a rejas? It's a Spanish word. It's like ornate wrought iron grating, and usually they're put over windows or doors. And what do they allow? They allow for ventilation in or out, and they're also for security. Well, Mrs. Guthrie has one on her door. So that was an additional layer. And why this individual, this perp, this suspect, decided to go there to disable the Nest camera instead of, and our intrepid drone team has been out here and they've taken great drone footage from high above. You can look at the entire property. You know, there's an outbuilding back there. There's a pool in the back. There are multiple points of entry that you could get into very easily. In the back of the house, there is a back door that's got like 9-panel window pane. In the back.
All right. You see the four-way there. You see the camera, the ringtone on the door. Now you see that little cubby hole off to the side. I think it's possible they could have put the body there. If they're saying, well, we know that the front door was the exit. He went in from the back. Then it's very possible that he opens the door, puts the body in that corner right there, slumped down, whatever. Because I believe it looks like blood droplets. Maybe someone pixeled it, tried to block it out, whatever. But you have to remember, it's very dark out there. That light is very dark. In the four-way there, it's not on, right? What you're seeing is the ringtone light or whatever kick on, or maybe security light or whatever kick on. And it's not very bright there, you know? So maybe he does put the body in the corner there until they figure out what's going to go on, right? Very well possible. I'm not going to take it off of the table, you know, because they want to make sure the coast is clear. So they leave Mrs. Guthrie back there in the corner, and they're making it appear like they're coming doing something else or something, man. It's just crazy.
Of the house, there is a back door that's got like 9-panel window panes in it. You could have easily broken one panel, reached in your hand, unlocked the door, and gone in with nobody noticing. So why the suspect went to the front? We obviously know that Mrs. Guthrie was there at some point in time because we know that the blood spatter is there and the DNA came back to her. It really boggles the mind. This case gets confounding. And again, investigators certainly know more than I do. But as I look at this, and if I'm thinking about it from the good guy perspective, trying to get in, or the bad guy perspective, I don't understand why that front door would have been an option. You could have gotten into and out of that house, avoided the surveillance from that video camera on the front door, and brought her out the side where there are no surveillance cameras, and had a car there to take her away. It boggles the mind.
James, does it show you that she evidently won when she was dropped off by, we assume, the son-in-law? She went in the garage. So that means, I would assume, you go into the garage because the front door is locked. You make a choice. It's easier to hit a button than it is to maybe fumble for your keys. Would you assume the same thing? And would you think that an 84-year-old woman would always be sure to keep that front door locked? And going in the garage, isn't that a further indication that it was locked? And then you wonder, did you break that door off the hinges? You know, did you pick? I don't know of anybody that picks a deadbolt lock. Maybe you do. What does that
sign of forced entry?
Yeah, well, Brian, and we don't know how that garage door operates.
So
is it
they
a
had to snuck into the garage.
Is it a traditional key? Was
As
it
was
left
open.
unlocked like sometimes people do? I can't imagine an 84-year-old woman reaching down and lifting that door up. It was probably an automatic garage door opener. Maybe she could have had that too. And here's the question too. Did the perp follow her into the house? But then it begs the question, why would he go back around to the front unless there was a vehicle waiting and that was going to come at a prescribed time, or he was going to message somebody to pull up out front to bring Mrs. Guthrie out? And he wanted to make sure that the Nest camera didn't pick up the vehicle approach. Again, I'm completely befuddled by why you wouldn't have gone through just a number of first floor windows that don't have the Rehas on them. They don't have.
Another thing, this guy said something about a vehicle showing up. Well, that's possible. That's very possible. Was it a gravel driveway? You might have wanted to lock that whole place down and even did tire track impressions to see if someone did pull up into the driveway right to the front porch and they loaded a body. I mean, but they went there, taped it off, then they took the tape down. Even if they didn't know, well, there's no body here, so there's got to be a body somewhere. They either had to walk out or put the car, put it in a car. Very crazy. And why didn't they look for different tire tracks? No. In the it looks like a gravel driveway or something. Debbie Fox says, like Hollywood whodunit. It's like a Hollywood whodunit. Case is a circus. That's what Debbie Fox is saying.
That ornate grates over them like you see on many of the houses here, and why you would choose the front door unless he thought he could coerce her or trick her, some kind of ruse to get her to open the door. But when you're standing there dressed as he was, she's not going to open the door. So these are all the conflicting fact patterns, trying to figure out how this was. What I don't understand is this, and I'll close here. Why haven't we learned yet if forced entry was the means of entering the house? And why did law enforcement initially state that and then quickly walk that back? I think that's a key piece of evidence here, and I don't know why. I've thought about this, why they haven't released that.
Right. We all have those questions and questions about the cameras. Some have said there were cameras found on the roof in the back. Other cameras inside. We want to see what those cameras caught. Did she have an alarm? If she's a woman, 84, living by herself, you would think she would have an alarm. What's the latest there? What about oppressor? It's been a while since we've heard from the police. The last time we were briefed from the sheriff's department, I should say, was a week ago? Are they planning on saying anything?
Yeah, so Ainsley, we've been asking around about that because obviously, we want to get as much news as we can. In the very beginning, I think that they realize that sometimes too much information is not a good thing. It's not going to help. And when you have two agencies, the FBI has been kind of tight-lipped on this because, again, we are second seat, right? The Pima County Sheriff's Office, they are directing this investigation from the front. The FBI is in an advisory capacity. And that makes it difficult. You need a singular line of messaging. And that's why you would have a joint operations center. You'd have, agents working with deputies. And that way, all of that information, there's a synergy there. And then there's one presser to put that out. They have stated repeatedly, we're not having another press conference unless or until we have a significant piece of evidence or information that the public needs to hear about.
But James, and I say this cautiously because the thin blue line exists for a reason. And many people in law enforcement understand the job and are hesitant to criticize rank and file. But when it comes to leadership, were there some failures here? Securing the crime scene, the way the grid search is being done.
And they wanted to
not
make it look like
using the proper equipment to make sure that the scene is not contaminated. Just now beginning this type of grid search. What do you see as an investigator that's done the job and has supervised the job?
If you've been in an auto accident, you have a choice on where to get your vehicle fixed.
Yeah, Lawrence, we definitely know.
Is that what we're looking at, Debbie? Is something else happened? And all this was him walking up to the camera and everything was to make it look like something else was happening. I don't know. Pretty crazy, but we have to take a look at this photo. a gun? And is it possible she was there in the corner and this is a vehicle or something, and he was trying to cover stuff up? And the reason that there ain't no blood down here in front, where they've been saying, there's blood droplets right here on them. Well, maybe they didn't move her yet, and she was here. Maybe in the corner or something where it looks like there is all this blood splatter or whatever. If it's blood splatter or just blood, I'm not sure. Sure, they wanted to, long with the hostage, or they waited too long with the hostage story. They should have been looking for it. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And yesterday on JLR's, that one guy was saying out there, this happens all the time out here in Arizona. It's just because this lady is high profile that it's getting all this coverage. But he said this is an everyday thing out there in Arizona. Pretty crazy. White shoes, baggy pants. Now, like I said, the gun holster, you can see the gun holster now. And the reason I couldn't see the gun holster in the footage I was looking at is because the same guy walked up to the camera without that gun and backpack. So when I said, I don't see no gun on the guy, that was the footage I was looking at, which that footage is out there now. It's been released, the photo. The guy was there twice, 3 times. He walked up. He didn't have a backpack on. He didn't have a gun. The next photo we seen is him with a backpack. And then we see another photo of him after he leaves again and comes back. He's got the backpack on, but now he's got a weapon. So it's very fishy to me. Yo, RC, how you doing? It's very possible they did something to her or something. I don't know. It's very possible though. Now these are house lights back here. People are all asking, what about these lights back? Well, that's a house light or something. Bunch of house lights. But this down here is on by the road. So this could be a vehicle, and the light from the camera or a security camera or light system is casting out enough light, and it's reflecting off of the tail lights or the headlights. So that could be a vehicle. Does it make sense he's covering it, the camera, so they can get the body out because there's going to be a car pulling up here in this gravel driveway? That's very possible. Very possible. They should have did tire impressions too. All right, let's get back to that video that Debbie sent. We got crap going down even here in this little town. Excuse me.
That law enforcement has a tough job, and for 25 years I saw things from the other side of the crime scene tape, and I know how difficult it is where you hear things said in the media, you hear somebody like me, an analyst, speculating about something, and you want to pull your hair out and say that's wrong, that's not what's going on. when it comes to the conduct of the investigation, I will give the investigators the benefit of the doubt again, because they've got a difficult and arduous task. The terrain out here, just the 14-hour time gap that you guys painstakingly walked through at the top of the show this morning to talk about how long the bad guy or bad guys had to get away and be long way away from here before, authorities were notified. If I had to be critical of one thing, and I'll go on the record and say this, look, I'm a recovering elected official. The sheriff of Pima County, and it's not just him, sheriffs are historically elected positions. They're politicians first, and then they're also law enforcement officers. That's a tough position to be in, because you've got to run for election again or re-election, and you've also got to think about serving the public. And it's a difficult capacity because law enforcement doesn't have to usually be elected. I would be critical of the messaging. I thought in the beginning, especially for a politician who are usually better speakers, I thought it was clumsy, and it showed, look, the Pima County Sheriff's Office is 1,800 strong, 600 sworn deputies. They've got 9,000 miles of incorporated property here that they're in charge of. It's a large swath in territory, but I don't know, and I've looked up to see what the major cases that they had worked as a department. But I thought in the beginning, the mixed messaging that was sent out, the saying something and immediately walking back, if I had some critical things to say, that would be something I would want to see fixed. And I think not having more press conferences is probably their solution to that problem.
Yeah, tell us less. So this way I can't be wrong. I just think at some point, if the FBI director says this is the Keystone Cops operation from the inside, not the outside, I think maybe the president's got to get involved and say, you know what, I'm putting the FBI in charge of this. There's too much at stake. We got too many assets here. We gave you a shot. The FBI's got to take command. That's what you guys do. I'd be very curious, unless the reality on the inside is that it's much better than it seems on the outside.
Yeah, Brian, I'll share this. I do talk to people that have talked to people inside the investigation, and not about particulars of the case and how it's going, but about the fact that there was a 48-hour period between the time that the case was first stood up and the Pima County Sheriff's Office, rightfully so, took over the purview of the case, and when the FBI was allowed into the investigation. 48 hours. Now, that's not the rank and file deputies. There's one right over my shoulder right now doing due diligence, walking the property, making sure it stays secure. It is.
Well, there you go, folks. 48 hours before anybody did it. Yeah. Where could they be in 48 hours? Who knows? Yeah, they could be in Mexico. They could be in other states, whatever, but very horrible, and this is why you got to lock your doors. Even when you lock your doors, you just, this is why I'm working on this new home defense system that works off of infrared and sensors and everything. And it tracks anything that comes onto the property, and it's programmed to where if you see something like that, some idiot walking up, it just opens fire. Right? Small caliber. We don't want to kill them. We just want to make sure to let them know we see them, and so do our weapons. So and it just gives off a little burst of fire. And every home, hopefully in 2029, maybe, will have these home defense systems on their front porches. I know it sounds cruel and cruelty, but, we're just not going to let these people come take our stuff. So a lot of people are working on stuff. I wish the government could have went ahead and listened, but they just don't want to listen. And this is sad. This is why you open fire. If you yell out the door, are you police? And they don't answer back. Or if you look out the peephole and it's someone claiming to be police, but they're not in police uniform or whatever. That's why you always open up first, with fire, a small burst, and then ask questions later. That I know the government's pretty upset. You can't be telling people, well, you know, uh, our hands are tied on this one. Congress, Senate. Um, you got your own president up there saying that it's so corrupt, everything's corrupt. The cartel might have bought Arizona, literally. Yeah. And I heard there was some people backing out of this union thing or whatever, don't want to be a part of the states, and they're selling the states to the highest bidder. Well, maybe the cartel actually does own the property in Arizona. Yeah, it's crazy, but there's rumors out there. Let's continue to listen. Yo, RC, Miss Debbie.
It is literally that type of territoriality, and that happens in everything that causes things like this to happen. That 48-hour gap, the fact that you have an elected official in charge of a sheriff's department that doesn't want to seen as ceding to the 500-pound gorilla. But I agree with your points. This should be an investigation, in my estimation, that the FBI should take the lead now.
Yeah.
Thanks, James.
Yep. When it's a matter of life or death, the best should be brought in immediately.
The president might have to get involved.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe.
Let's check out another video.
Software to help identify the armed suspect. Our next guest says that this new tech could be used to uncover even more clues to help crack the case. Cybersecurity expert and former FBI counterintelligence operative Eric O'Neill joins us now. So, Eric, let's talk about this technology, this generation identification. Could this be helpful in getting the height, the weight, the circumference of this suspect?
Certainly. Good morning, Lawrence. It's certainly part of a mosaic that the FBI will use. NGI's foundation comes from the old fingerprint database, and what it looks at is biometric data. So think things like those old school fingerprints, but also palm prints, facial images, and even iris patterns. So it allows law enforcement to take an image of a suspect and then run it through a large database to find a potential match. So when we're looking at the Guthrie case, it can also analyze things like facial geometry, and that would be the distance between your eyes, your nose shape, and the depth and size of your face. Now, here's a problem. Through a mask, we're mostly limited to visible geometry, so things we can see with the mask, like eyes, nose bridge, mouth shape, and of course, the shape and depth of the face. Now, the FBI also has a unit called FACE that stands for the Facial Analysis, Comparison, and Evaluation Unit. And they use this special unit to compare an image to things like a driver's license photos. They have a massive database of driver's license photos. So here's what I think they do. They use NGI to find partial matches with FACE against known individuals, but then they need more evidence before they send a SWAT team to someone's house. So with the situation with the delivery driver whose door was raided by the FBI's HRT team yesterday, I suspect they used NGI to get a composite image of a potential match of the suspect, ran it through their NGI database, and then used the FACE unit to look at driver's licenses, found someone who probably found a number of someone who was a partial match, then used other things like telemetry from cell towers. And because this guy's a delivery driver, he was in the area at some point, and they thought he was a good person of interest. I'm sure there was a tip as well. But the point is that the FBI uses all these things, including an analysis of height and weight, which I'm sure they have, to come up with the idea for a potential subject.
So, Eric, you were referring to the HRT team. That's the hostage rescue team for our audience. But can I drill down on those known individuals? Because most of this technology uses these AI databases to gather this information. But when they're using AI for this, the known individuals that you referred to, are these people with criminal records, or are they using tools such as they do with the genealogy searches from the private sector that is a wider data?
I can tell you this much. Someone asked AI to figure out this case and they printed out a face. That face looked like Bryant and everybody was going, this is crazy. Look, so can AI work? Is AI our friend? At this point, no. AI is thinking on its own and just putting stuff out there. You know, they're all they put AI in it and they asked AI to create a face that was under the mask, and it created a face, and it kind of looked like something. A Brian Etten lookalike or something. Everyone's like, "What the heck?" Yeah. So, I don't know. RC says, I do think it's some sort of Mexican kidnapping gang. Well, they're not very good. They're not very good. It could be anything. It could be anything. They're not very good at what they're doing. People are saying it's the cartel, and I'm like, no, cartel are smarter than this. There would have been no evidence there, Cartel wouldn't have went through all this. If this was something to do with drugs or the cartel, they would have wiped out the bodies, whoever was in the house. They wouldn't have took nobody with them, and they would have left. And the only thing that would have been there is a body or bodies, depending on how. We just had something go down out here with the cartel, and they went in and killed the whole family and walked out. Didn't take no rent, didn't do anything. That was in Kentucky or something, or down south Indiana or Tennessee or one of them places. And they were saying that was cartel, something to do with the drug cartel or something. Drug cartel don't injure. It's obvious they injured her because they're saying there's blood in the four-way that is hers. So she was already injured. They knew it was an old lady. They didn't have to do much to scare her, right? To get her to do what they wanted. They don't take bodies with them. Not unless it is a kidnapper. But then again, you have to think, was this made to look like something else? The proof is in the pudding. Yeah. But they haven't been caught yet. Yeah. So this is, and what are you going to do if you don't have a vehicle and there's no body at the house, but you got blood at the house, no body? They had to take the body somewhere. So they had to do something either very sick and put these people in a backpack, and then you're going to backpack out of there with a body. So it does make kind of sense that they would be calling or having there's a vehicle there, and they're going to pull up to the door and put the victim, the hostage, in the vehicle, right? I mean, do you walk 4, 5, 10 miles with a body, carrying a body? Now, could it be done? Yes, because if it is the cartel, they're carrying 100-pound backpacks full of cocaine. So would they be able to carry a small 84-year-old woman? Well, it's possible. It's very possible. They could have had an ATV. They could have had an ATV a couple miles away. You're right about that, RC. The roof is the pudding. Well, the roof was just recently painted. So if anybody was up on the roof, there surely would have been dirt footprints. They're in a desert. Now, whether the murders were already occurred, and if that's the thing, the murders already happened, and they were knocking the cameras down or whatever so they can get out of there without them seeing a body, then there might be blood footprints. Now, what kind of roof is that? If it's a hot tar roof, RC, or a rubber membrane hot tar roof, what happens when that roof gets hot? It gets sticky. There's tar under it. There might be a rubber membrane roof, and then they put tar and gravel on top of it, tar, and then they gravel it. So there surely would have been evidence that somebody was up there. There would have been evidence. Foot marks, kneel marks, whatever they were doing. Like how they got Kohlberger. Yeah, maybe. They might know exactly who it is. It might be something to do with someone that was very close to the family, or knew the family very well. Very crazy. Let's listen to a little bit more of this video.
The base.
You're exactly right. So they're using AI to do a lot of the database research, but they have access to more than just mugshots. So the NGI is specifically looking at biometrics related to mugshots and on other information. But the FBI also has access to a massive database of driver's license information and other information that they can pull from. So if you have a driver's license and they have a composite image of you, they can run it against all those images to try to find a potential match. And so many other things that they're doing. Like, for example, the FBI will have used that video that we're looking at to create a gait analysis. The images go out to the public, and with the reward that's also set, the FBI and law enforcement is probably receiving countless tips that they're trying to run down. Then you have witness interviews and good old school investigative techniques, and you marry up the technology with the old school sleuthing, and
I'm telling you, this Fruit Loop's got eyeliner on. I believe he's got eyeliner on. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people are saying Tamos and his friends in the rock band or whatever. These people might have changed over time. A lot of people saying Dominic. Well, he might have changed over time. When was the photo that we are seeing of him taken? Was it in 2007? Was it 2008? He might have put on weight, grew a mustache, still has a soul patch or even a goatee. And, someone was in my chat yesterday saying it might have been a band and they wear makeup or whatever, maybe. I don't know, maybe. Who knows? But it's just a ski mask. That's all it is. It might be a wrestler's mask, but it's just a ski mask. That's all. It ain't one of these elaborate latex masks. It's not a latex mask that makes you appear to be someone else. If that's the case, there's no need for a ski mask. You would just put the latex mask on, and that's all you would need, because it's going to make you look like someone else. So all this stuff that he's got layers on, he's got a mask underneath a ski mask and another I don't think so. He's got a ski mask on, that's it. With a mustache and a soul patch. And he waxed his eyebrows. You can see where he's shaved some of his eyebrows. You can also see in Dominic's photo of him standing next to Tomas or whatever it is. If you blow that photo up, you can see the same thing on his eyebrows. where he's either trimmed his eyebrows or shaved them to make them appear thinner than more bushy or whatever. I think he might have shaved his eyebrows and used an eyeliner stick to draw in his eyebrows. Yeah, you got some real Fruit Loops out there in the desert, I'll tell you that.
You can start to find persons of interest.
Real quickly, Eric, why don't we have a full diagram when it comes to this suspect, weight, height, and all of this? Could this be they're still running the tools? I mean, we saw this with Brian Kohlberger. We thought that the case was cold, but it wasn't cold. They were just waiting to get the data back from the genealogy. Could that be the case here when it comes to his full workup?
It could be.
That's certainly true. This isn't like the movie Minority Report. It isn't a swipe and it happens. It takes time to put this all together, to make sure that they're accurate. And before they release that information, they want to be completely right. And I'll give you one more little clue that they probably have that they haven't released. When a Nest camera records that video, it is also recording audio at the same time. I would bet that the FBI has audio related to that video that they haven't released. The only reason they wouldn't have it is if somehow the audio was separately corrupted from the video when they recovered that video.
Bingo. Now you're using your head. And what would be on that recording? A gunshot. There would be screams. Just like we're hearing from the Idaho 4 case. Whatever happened inside that house was recorded on that camera's microphone. So there's a lot they're not telling us. We're dumb. We're idiots. But we're not that dumb. So either the whole shoot and shaboodle is corrupt, and it's time to light all the candles and thin out the sickness and the madness in our country, or we allow this to continue to happen. That's why our new home device system will be on market soon. Infrared cameras, tracking cameras, all kinds of stuff, and it'll pump out small round caliber weapons. Anything that moves, you set that alarm, and them cameras go. Anything that comes up onto that doorstep or moves in the yard gets eliminated. And that's what we're going for in 2029. Hopefully by then we'll have them ready. I know it's pissing a lot of people off, but you know what, folks? We don't live. I wish we all were under God and protected and we could sleep at night and everything, but it just ain't that way. I'm not going to lie to the American people. What would I have done if I would have seen some sicko like that walking up to my door and I, asked, "Who are you?" and they didn't answer, or they were monkeying? I would open fire right away. And I would hope it wouldn't be one of my friends, but that's what you get for messing around late at night on a property. If you're not banging on the door asking for help, then you're there to do something very bad. And I would open fire. I would open the door and let them in. Oh yeah, come on in, and then just cut them in half. Because we're tired of the bull crap. Greatest country in the world, but if you listen to these people in Arizona, they say this happens every day. It's just that this case is high profile and getting all the coverage.
But I would bet that they have the audio, and because that particular Ring camera has a battery, it's very possible that as that criminal carried the Ring camera with him, it recorded additional audio after he ripped it off the wall.
Such important information. Eric, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube.
What they don't realize is that was a camera with a internal battery. So you'd be able to rip it off of the wall, but it's still recording. It's still recording voice and camera. They might not have realized that and took the camera with them. Actually, if they don't find the camera, they might still have the camera, and they might have more footage of literally hour, depending on how long the battery will go or whatever. Maybe 2 hours. Maybe, man, that's crazy. They might have actually been hearing this stuff happen or whatever. I don't know. Not unless he put it in his backpack right away. Then all you're going to hear is maybe muffling, or you're not going to see too much. But I don't know. Very crazy. Let's see what's going on in chat. Like how they got Kohlberger. Yeah, RC. First, let me dogs out, then answer the door. Yeah, you let the dogs out, Deb. Yeah, if you own a dog, you let the dog out. If the dog attacks and you hear the dog getting, you open fire. But, it's just crazy. They're using magic, witchery, sorcery, you name it. If it is the cartel, there's rumors coming out that they're very high into the witchery and sorcery, all that stuff, voodoo and stuff like that. This has got to, it's really got to come to an end. Congress, Senate, Oval Office. It's really got to come to an end. This is ridiculous. We're under attack, and we ain't even done nothing wrong. I mean, even the poor are under attack. I mean, this really has. Yeah, we really need to do something about this. All right, I think that's all we got. We're going to take a look one more time at this photo. And then I might do another video giving a shout out to all the businesses that I stop at, gas stations, tire place, and stuff like that, fast food. Now, if you notice, the front porch light ain't on. Now, did he reach his hand up there and unscrew the light bulb? But that front porch light ain't on. So it's very dark in there. It's very dark in there. That's why he had the camera or had the flashlight. He might be on the side a carpenter, electrician. He might be a drug cartel person. And when they have them flashlights that they can put in their mouth so they can continue to work, and they can see in the dark. And there's a flashlight designed you put in your mouth. So it might be something like that. I don't know. I think this is probably could be a blood down here. A little bit of blood down here. I don't know if you guys can see that down here. That might be. I'm not going to rule it out. And if that's the case, then something happened there, or the body is sitting there and it's bleeding or whatever, or maybe they were hiding the body there until somebody came up or until they figured out what they were going to do. But what's this on the ground? Right? What are we seeing down here by his feet? What is this? These patterns here. That looks like the doorknob. That looks like maybe a doorknob or something, right? That might be a locker, how many cameras were in there? Is that actually a photo of the camera on the wall? You can't see it because my square thing here, my my second window is showing. It might be the doorknob or something, but how is it catching? Wow, that must be a pretty good camera. It might be a camera that's set on tracking. So any movement, the camera moves and follows it. You can actually see the gun holster now that's hanging out the front of his. But you know what? When they first released the photo of the guy in the walkway, he was way back here. He came walking up out of nowhere, and it was pitch dark. You could barely see him until he walked so far up. And he don't have a backpack on, and he don't have that weapon. He leaves out of the picture frame, comes back, he's got a backpack on. And then he goes away again, I think, and he comes back, and then he's got a gun with a holster. I mean, that's kind of crazy. If you ask me, I mean, professional, I don't think so. I don't think they're too professional. This might have been, you know, a druggie, cracked out crackhead or whatever, maybe. Debbie Fox said, yep, they said they found the holster, but that's probably bull crap. Well, they said they found a glove too. Yeah, Debbie, that looks like the door handle and a deadbolt, possibly. You know, a deadbolt on the door, but they might have a deadbolt on the screen door. I'm looking for any other traces of anything. There had to be footprints out here. This is gravel, right? The guy's walking in this gravel. There had to be footprint. This is actually dirt where he's bending over and grabbing or pulling the flowers out. There had to be footprints on that. Yeah, that looks like a revolver for like a 45 Colt or something that he's got the holster. That's what that looks like. The gun don't go with the holster, that's for sure. That's for sure. It's almost like he changed clothes. He goes somewhere and changes or something. Maybe there was a couple of them. He's around front, making it look like there's someone out front, and as he's out front, there's somebody coming in the back or something. Or somebody that snuck in the house. Or they're saying she came home and went in through the garage, hit the garage button, and went in that way. Well, if that door was open for a certain part of time, then yeah, he could have went in through the garage. Once he got inside and apprehended her, then he could have contacted this idiot. And this idiot comes walking up to the front door to make it look like it's something other than it's not. Meanwhile, there's somebody already in the house that has her or whatever, bringing her out or whatever. You know, it could be hundreds of things. Yeah, nobody wears it in the front like that, Debbie. Not unless you want your balls blown up. There ain't no way I would stick a gun in my pants like that, not unless it was unloaded. There ain't no way I'd stick a loaded weapon like that in the front of my pants. You're just asking for trouble. Well, there's a lot of things that should have been done that weren't done, and that makes it suspicious. More of a woman's holster. Well, there are actually people out there saying that it's a woman. And women do crazy things. That's true. Women are killers too. But that ain't no woman. That's a man. Debbie, you might be right. It might be a toy holster that you got at Walmart. A toy holster that you got at Walmart for cowboys and Indians. Not woman. No, it ain't a woman. I don't know why they're saying it's a woman. It might have been a woman orchestrated it, but that's not a woman. Well, unless we get video that's out of audio so we can hear if there was shots fired in the house. If there was shots fired in the house and she's already gone, that would explain the blood. Once they carry her out, that would explain the blood. But then after that, now you got to get rid of the body. And after that, if it's a ransom thing, you got to determine whether she's alive or dead. A kidnapping, whatever. They might have made the mistake if they were, their boss. Maybe this was something bigger. Their boss might be pissed. You were told not to hurt her. You left blood everywhere. Now she's passed away. Now they can't. And that's maybe why this whole thing came to an end, was they couldn't produce what they needed to produce, was a live body on camera or in a photo. And being that she was passed away or whatever, they couldn't do that. Therefore, negotiations stopped. Very possible. There's got to be a blood trail. But then again, you got to explain this, which looks like blood droplets or whatever. I don't know. They're saying it's pixelated because it's out of the graininess or whatever. You really can't see, but it actually does look like 4 or 5 real dark droplets in this area right here. So how can there be blood there before this guy even comes up and we see anything? If this is blood in the corner up here, real close to the door in that corner, how is this hair before all this is orchestrated? Oh, I understand, Debbie. Debbie says she don't mean to be mean, but they didn't do the things that they should have. They didn't do the right things. All I can say is this is a giant organization, all connected. Gangs, clubs, secret societies. The video I seen this morning, mafias, whatever, that they're all connected through prisons. And the racket of stealing and selling drugs and shylarking and kidnapping and all that. Do I think the mafia did this? No. No, mafia ain't even that dumb. This wasn't mafia or anything like that. This was somebody doing something crazy. They counted on it being a hostage situation. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty crazy, if you ask me. So, what do we do? Well, there's not much we can do. We just have to take it as it comes out. The information or photos. Heck, we just had a murder or something in town here, a couple murders in town here. They're saying something about an escaped convict or something like that. Emma, who knows? We don't know. It's crazy everywhere in America, folks. I know they busted some people. It was in the paper with meth and prostitution and biker clubs and stuff like that out here. That was in the newspaper and on the news. But that was a while ago. Maybe it is something like that. Maybe it's a biker war or something, or a gang war or something. I think the guy was black or something. I'm not sure. They haven't released too much information on that. It just happened the other day, a couple days ago. And LaGrange hasn't released too much yet, other than there was a crime, homicide or something like that. Double homicide or something. Well, who knows? Well, all you could do is hunker down, folks. Like I said, you can have all the police departments in the world in your town. You can have all the churches and, 8 churches or whatever in town. It's not going to make you safe. We're starting to find out that a lot of these police officers and politicians are wrapped up into bad stuff. Maybe they sold America to some cartel, drug cartel. Maybe they sold America behind our backs. See, this appears to be a dark spot right there on the sidewalk here. It's possible that could be a drop of blood. It just ain't adding up, the whole thing. But I'm no professional. I don't make 150,000 a year investigating, or it could be. I don't know if it is blood. It could be. I don't know why they waited 9 days to put a tent over the front door here. I have no idea why they waited. The blood, the people are saying the blood spots were still there the other day. The CIRC is saying the CIA started the crack epidemic. Who knows? Maybe. I can tell you this much. It was on the news again and on YouTube about the biolabs. They found 2 or 3 of them now in America that were owned. They were houses that they were using. They were owned by somebody, but somebody was running biological labs out of them or something. So they've been using this stuff and probably killing people and spreading it around and everything. Yeah, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff. And you don't have to be gay no more to be contaminated with these things, because they're deliberately contaminating people. You know what else is real fishy? That these people contacted TMZ first. And then another news channel. They're talking with the news, but they're not making any connection with the family. Now, what kind of kidnapper is going to... We got somebody really high profile. We're going to call TMZ. We're going to let everybody know. That was stupid. You'd have had a better chance of getting away with this if you would have just sent a letter in the mail to the family. We have your mother. Send us money or whatever. Here's a photo of her alive. They would have had a better chance then. But this was just, I have no idea what they've done. And then again, with all the technology, you don't know if it's AI generated. And the photo you're seeing of the victim or the hostage ain't even real. It's AI generated.
Who disappeared from her home in Tucson nearly 2 weeks ago. The post reads, "Our lovely mom, we will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope." Let's watch. Video just 21 seconds long, but it speaks volumes about the bond between Savannah and her mother, just the bond among the entire Guthrie family, which has been as important as ever during this difficult time. Let's bring in our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. Tom, we know there is still more activity in Arizona this morning as tips continue to come in following that video that was released a couple days ago. Where do things stand with the investigation right now?
Yeah, a heartfelt video there from our colleague Savannah, and I think it underscores the fact that, look, there has been no update from officials on what they think is the current status of Nancy Guthrie. And so since there's no evidence of one way or the other as to where she might be, what might have happened, the hope with the family still remains, understandably. It's
All right, here's footage of finally they put a cover over the front, put a tent up over the front foyer. So what is going on? I don't know. No, you think they would have did this stuff right away, even if it was a ransom. Even if it was a ransom, this should have been done the second day that she was missing. Especially when you got blood and then you test it and it's from her. Something ain't right. I mean, they should have shut this whole area down. Why they didn't, I don't know. Why are we paying these people? I'm starting to listen to Jim Brewer. Jim Brewer's doing live broadcasts telling people don't pay your taxes anymore. He's telling Americans, do not pay your taxes. Don't pay them. I'm starting to believe him. Why are we paying for anything when they can't even protect their own people? I don't know.
the hope of investigators as well. And so, yes, they are still hopeful that there will be a positive outcome here. They have to be. You're looking at live drone video from over the house, the FBI there on scene conducting searches, we are told. There's a tent over the front door. You can kind of see it if you look towards the front of that building, not where the grass is, where that semicircular driveway is. And that tent is covering that entryway where we saw that a fairly incredible doorbell camera, the Nest camera video from earlier this week when that was released by the FBI, getting the clearest photo yet of a subject that they are looking for, information on now. Well over 4,000 tips have been received as a result of that video going public. And so they're back at the house. This is the fourth or fifth time that they have been there. There was the initial scene processing that occurred after Nancy Guthrie was, in the words of the sheriff, taken from that home against her will. And then there was also several follow-ups by the FBI, and now they are there again as well. We don't know specifically what this particular search or effort is about. We do know that law enforcement was...
Well, it looks like there's a brick wall that is all the way around the whole back of the property. Goes around the pool, comes back around, comes up over here. But here's the case. Here's the thing. How did they get up on the roof? Everyone, well, there was a camera. There was people up on the roof. They took the camera. Well, how'd they get up on the roof? You'd have had to climb somewhere, possibly got up on this wall here, and then pulled himself up over here. Was there a ladder in the backyard or anything? Was anybody up on the roof? I don't think so. But it ain't nothing to jump over a wall, you know.
Out with significant numbers this morning, pouring through that neighborhood, pouring through the brush and the heavy vegetation that is so clearly evident there on screen in an effort to continue searches. They found a glove yesterday, unclear whether that's going to be connected to this crime or not, that they've continued to look into items at the house, continued to conduct searches in the neighborhood. We have interviewed a number of neighbors who say they have been interviewed on several occasions by sheriff's investigators, detectives, as well as FBI special agents. And there was a call out last night, according to our affiliate, looking for video from some specific dates well before this incident occurred. So we're trying to get some more information, trying to get...
No, see, that's a gravel driveway. Real fine crushed gravel. It leaves impressions. Why they didn't shut down the driveway and start looking for impressions, I have no idea. But it makes sense that it's possible they hid the body in the four-way, waiting for someone to pull right on up into the driveway, stop. They load the thing, and they're gone. Yeah. Yeah. Sure as the day is long. It's very possible these people over here have cameras up on the roofs. Look at this house, this huge house here. Whole back of it looks like it's all glass. Maybe they had cameras pointing this way and seen something. It's very interesting, folks.
Some more details on what this is about. But again, that tent covering that area where we saw that doorbell camera from earlier this week. So that's the status of the investigation. Very active this morning. I'm sure that they have some leads. That's almost guaranteed. How strong those leads are and where they end up through the course of today, we'll just have to continue to follow, Joe.
And Tom, as we've been talking about this video that was released a couple days ago, there's sort of two things that come from that. One, releasing the video, you hope someone in the public sees something in that video, be it a piece of clothing or the gun holster, and calls in a tip saying, hey, I think I might know who this person is. The second thing is just that investigators can now look at what that person's wearing and do some investigating there too. Talk about how big of a break that video has been in this.
Well, it's enormous. We've seen the FBI leverage that in the past to get to a point of getting the name of a suspect or more information about it. You know what they'll do, Joe, is they'll look at the backpack and they'll say, where was that purchase? They'll pull all the receipts, all the purchases from it. They'll do the same with the gun holster there that we just saw his left hand on as he approaches this camera. They'll do the same with everything that we can see in this, the sneakers, and try to put it all together and see if they can find some commonalities among names, identifications, dates, all of that would be so critical. The fact that they're looking for additional video from specific dates kind of leads us to believe that maybe they've got some ideas now of when this person could have been in this neighborhood or if they were working with anybody else. We still don't know that. We talked to our law enforcement analyst, former ATF special agent in charge, Jim Kavanaugh. He's of the belief that, but this probably involves now more than one person, given the fact that we do not see a car in the background of this video here as the vegetation's being placed over that Nest camera. So look, a lot of activity this morning. When we say that we think that they have some good leads and they're tracking some things down, we're always a little bit behind the investigation. Of course, things are developing rapidly on the ground. How soon that ends up with some answers for the Guthrie family, and the reason why we're talking here, this new video that our colleague Savannah has released, how soon that ends up in answers for them and for the public, we don't know. But we are hopeful that we will get some answers just as soon as investigators are able to start to piece this together. We did report last Friday, NBC News first report of a possible vehicle that they were looking at in connection with this. They've been pulling more video. They've been going to more stores in the area. And so between this emotional plea and the series of emotional pleas from the Guthrie family and from our colleague Savannah, as well as the images and evidence that police have been putting out, we're hopeful that this ends up in a situation where we can start to get some more information here and get to that conclusion, Joe.
Tom Winter, we know you'll continue to keep us updated. Again, just moments ago, our colleague Savannah Guthrie posting this home video with clips set to music, no words in it, but a powerful, brief message. Let's take a look. Our colleague Savannah Guthrie continuing to try and keep us updated during this just unimaginably painful time for her family, always leading with her heart and with her faith. We want to bring in NBC's Liz Kreutz, who's in Tucson. She has been there since the very beginning. Liz, as we look at this video here, we're also seeing Savannah's former station, the station there in Tucson, posting a giant banner that says "Bring her home" and asking people in the community there to sign it. Of course, continued to ask people in the area if there's anything they saw that was suspicious around that time, in the days leading up, now even in the weeks leading up, to please let the FBI and local authorities know about it. Any tip, no tip is too small as they try and sort through everything. Tell us what you're seeing there today.
Yeah, hey, Joe. I mean, that video from Savannah is just heartbreaking now. 12 days into this search, 12 days of waiting for answers, any kind of information about where her beloved mother is. We all know how close she and her mom are. She talks about it frequently and has brought all of us into their friendship and their relationship, talking about how they're best friends. And it's just gut-wrenching to know what she and her family are going through. And to know the connection, the beautiful connection that they share. And we're all just have our hearts with her and her family right now. As far as here in Tucson, I think that's just how the community is feeling. We're hearing from so many people and in the neighborhood that just say they feel helpless right now. And so in order to do something, they're trying to come up with efforts and ways to show their love and support. So we saw from our affiliate, our NBC affiliate, where Savannah once worked, they have that big banner up with those 3 critical words that Savannah's been using, bring her home. And they've been urging people here in the community to come down to their station and sign it with messages. At the house, Nancy Guthrie's house, there's a growing area where people are leaving messages and flowers. And yesterday, a message went out to the neighborhood, ribbons outside their homes and around the neighborhood, all of that a traditional symbol of hope. So those are just the small ways that people are trying to show their love and support. But there's also practical ways. And we know that members of the community are scrubbing through all of their video, trying to rack their brains around anything they may have seen. I spoke to a neighbor yesterday who said that investigators have been at his home twice. He lives around the corner from Nancy Guthrie. And he said that he was being asked questions like, what are your names? Just basic normal questions, but what kind of car do you drive? And he said they were particularly asking throughout these visits, do you drive a truck? Have you seen a truck? We don't exactly know, why they're asking that. Our affiliate who's heard from some neighbors that Ring camera put an alert out to neighbors that have a Ring camera saying that they like you to look at video within these particular time frames. And it's very notable that one of those time frames is January 11th from 9 p.m. to midnight. I mean, that is 3 weeks before Nancy Guthrie went missing. Remember, she went missing on February 1st. And the other window is January 31st, the day before she went missing from 9:30 to 11. So those very specific windows certainly give you hope that they're maybe narrowing down on something here.
And Liz, we only have a few seconds here, but we're seeing a tent has been placed outside of Nancy Guthrie's home, but we don't know much more about that, right?
We don't at this time. We reached out to officials about it. They say they have nothing to advise us on right now, but it is a white tent that is now covering the door entryway of Nancy Guthrie's home, which is where we can see in the surveillance video that suspect, that person, came into the home and tampered with the doorbell camera.
All right, Liz Kreutz reporting from Tucson. Thank you so much. Again, Savannah Guthrie posting our lovely mom. We will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope. If you have any information on Nancy's disappearance, call the tip line on your screen, 1-800-CALL-FBI. We have more headlines ahead.
This is crazy because there's actually people on YouTube thinking that this is a cold case. This happened a while ago. And they're trying to get information out, trying to reopen it. They might be true. We've caught people on YouTube doing that, running cases like it just happened yesterday, but it didn't. It actually happened 5 years ago. Some of these people that are missing, like the kids and everything, they run it like it just happened today to try and keep people, oh my God, looking. But they don't realize it's an old case. We've already seen it. It happened a while ago. And they were just trying to rework it or get more information. Maybe. They might be right. I can't say they're not because we've seen that before on social media. Maybe. Whatever the case is, it's very sad. 84-year-old grandmother. That could have been any of our grandmothers. And there's just a lot of stuff going on right now. Very demonic in America, folks. Doctors lying about cases. People sick when the doctor's saying there's nothing wrong with these people. A lot of cover-up going on. A lot of craziness going on. Even in this little town.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
All right, I think we're going to end this video. We will be back. It's a beautiful day today. not too cold out. Sun's out. It's starting to melt a lot of the snow. That's good. We got warm temps coming, I think, for the next 3, 4, maybe 5 days. Close, possibly, they said, to 50 degrees. So that'll be good. I think I'll be wiping my inside of my car out if it does get that warm. But they say cold is coming. Winter ain't over yet, but we're going to get a little bit of a break here with some warm temps. So that'll be good. I want to thank everyone for stopping in. Debbie Fox, RC, anyone else that's out there watching. I also going to do a video maybe later on today, maybe tomorrow, giving a shout out to all the businesses in town, Hostetler's, BP, LA West, Marathon, McDonald's, Subway, and all that. Now, you folks have a great day, and I'll be back once more information comes out.